Prairie dogs. They know the whistle means food, so they all fly over too.
Okay, they're gonna feed.
All right, so we have 13 prairie dogs total. You'll see them start to make their way over here. This is their dinner time, so they get to fit at the same time every day, so they're expecting this. Also, if you see them jump in the bucket, their favorite food is at the bottom. It's called a rodent block, and so they know it's at the bottom, so that's what they're diving in there for. This is not normal. This took about 3 months of training in order for them to get this close. When I first started, it was just me and a bunch of pigeons. These guys were terrified of me. They come a little close and then right back underground. So we have two generations. We have an adult group and a baby group. The adults are named after first generation Pokemon, and the babies are named after second generation. Right now we're in the midst of breeding season. The mom and dad are trying to make new babies, so those guys will be named after third generation. So with these guys, with the breeding season, this is the only time of year we can tell the difference between boys and girls. Besides that, they look exactly the same except for right now. So the boys are the ones with missing fur, and what they're doing is they're fighting with one another. So you might see a fight break out during this, but what they're trying to do is impress the ladies. The idea being, if I'm a better fighter, the ladies are going to find me more attractive. And then on the flip side, the ladies are the ones that are all pristine. Now, in a couple weeks, the girls are going to start fighting with one another, and what the girls are fighting over is different nest space. So this is not one big connected community, but a bunch of different areas all put together. To give you an idea of a prairie dog hole, from underneath this tree to this sign right here, and it connects to one of these holes. That's one prairie dog area. I got about 5 living over here, and then about that size all throughout this exhibit. For the most part, it doesn't matter who goes where. They're not too territorial, but again, during this season they are, during the month of March. They pretty much won't really cross over into each other's holes. And so how the territory works, it's not like the monkeys where you have this silverback gorilla where you have one male prairie dog on top and everyone else falls in line. With these guys, if you want to think of a hula hoop, the hula hoop represents the male, and then if you put some soccer balls inside the hula hoop, that would be the female. So the female's territory is smaller than the male's, and then you'll have multiple females per male. We call that a harem. And so moms are only pregnant for a very short amount of time, about a month. And so we're able to tell they're pregnant because their behavior starts to change. They start digging. They've been digging a lot lately, as well as gathering materials to go make their nests, and they'll bring it underground. When the babies are born, because it's such a short pregnancy time, they're very small. They're about the size of your pinky finger, a little smaller. And they're not fully developed yet, so they're missing hair. They're called pinkies. They have no hair on them, and their eyes are not fully developed yet. They can't see too well. So they'll hang out with mom for underground for about a month, and then approximately a month later, they'll all come above ground. And with a period of about a week, our prairie dog population doubles to 13 to around 20 to 25. And what's really cool is that all these babies run around with each other in this little pack, and they'll go nurse on all the moms. These guys have communal nursing, so it's very difficult to tell which babies belong to which moms, because they'll also go in all the different holes, while the adult prairie dogs stick strictly to their own different territory. So there's this saying in the animal kingdom, it goes, eyes in the front we hunt, eyes on the side we hide. Humans are a good example of hunters. Our eyes are in the front of our head. This is what allows us to see things that are far away and track things that are moving. To give you an idea of this, if you ever try and take a picture with your cell phone camera, it's never as zoomed in as what you're looking at in person, and what's happening is your eyes are zooming in for you. So now on the flip side, you have eyes on the side we hide. If you were to imagine taking your eyes and moving them to where your temples are, this would give you much better peripheral vision. This is the vision that's all around you. And this is important for prairie dogs because they're at the bottom of the food chain. Pretty much everyone eats them, and so they have to be really alert and be aware of what's coming to get them to try and make sure that they have a little split-second reaction to try and get underground. So unlike deer, these guys can't run very fast. They can sprint for short distances, but that's it. Pretty much for the most part, their goal is to get underground, and underground represents safety. What's interesting though is they do have animals that do hunt them underground, such as the black-footed ferret, the burrowing owl, and different snakes. These animals will go into a prairie dog home, they'll have a meal, and now they have a protected environment for themselves. They can't dig their own hole, And so they use the prairie dogs as part of their own environment. So right now they're getting fed fruits and vegetables. These guys are herbivores. It changes every day. They never get fed the same thing twice in a row. This guy right here who's being a little feisty, this is our most dominant prairie dog. If you see the fight marks, they're all on his face. He attacks the other prairie dogs, and he'll go way out of his way to try and shoo away the other males. So also what they're diving in the bottom for here is these rodent blocks. If you want to think of these like your Flintstones vitamin, they taste really good and they have a lot of good nutrition in there for them. It's one of their favorite meals. At this time, do you guys have any questions for me? No? Alright, so lifespan of a prairie dog is about 3 years for a male, 5 years for a female. Reason why there's such a difference is because of what's happening right now, because of breeding season. Sometimes the males fight a little too aggressively and they don't always all make it. And then in captivity they live about 8 to 10 years. Reason why there's a difference there is 3 main reasons. First, as you can tell, some of them are a little on the chunky side. They get ample amount of food, so they don't ever have to worry about a food or water shortage. Also, because they're in this protected environment, they don't have to worry about any predators coming here and snatching them up. And lastly, if anything does happen to them, we have the awesome vet staff who can come take care of them of any medical issues that they might have. Will we keep all the babies? So no, we won't. We work with different zoos who will take part of our population. Reason for that is 2 big ones. First is that 13 is a good number of prairie dogs for this size. We don't want it to be overcrowded. And then secondly, when it becomes breeding season, it doesn't matter if it's mom, dad, brother, or sister. So in order to avoid inbreeding, they move the genetic population around. Also, if you to imagine, when they grow up, they want to move away and create their own hole too. Think of like a teenager hanging out at home. You know, mom's no longer cool, they want their own space. How long will babies stay? So right there, yeah, those are 2 males. That's what fighting looks like. And you hear that right now? You hear that little chatter? That's them fighting. So that's them verbally. They're going. So yeah, those are just 2 males right there. They're not fighting over. They're not trying to kill each other. They're just trying to establish dominance. How long will we keep the babies? The babies mature in about 9 months. So around that period, we'll start to wean them off.
Oh, yeah.
Any other questions? Alright guys, well thank you very much. What's going to happen is I'm going to stand up. These guys are going to run underground. If you give it about 30 or seconds or so after I stand up, they'll come right back up and start eating for you guys. Thank you very much.